the microphone nor the sound work on it at all. So probably have to get another new one. That'll be my 5th computer I've been through in 6 years. Pretty good, you know. Larry's like, oh, do it again. I'm like, Larry, you should be thanking me. I'm job security for you, bud.
So instead of taking the hard drive out, he's not gold. The whole thing, where the laptop, he said, and Travis, it's like, well, I don't know what hurt me. They're staying in the trash.
That had been fun a little bit, huh? Little kids smashing some laptops up. Had been a blast. That could be a good one. You ever, they have those rooms for like one of our office events where you can go into like one of those rooms and you can like smash things and whatnot. Do you know what I'm talking about? That'd be a fun thing to do. Everybody just take their rage out. Yeah, they have it. Yeah, I don't know if they have anything like that in Pittsburgh, but it'd be fun to look into it. Just to, they have like smash rooms. You just go and.
I'm just gonna get some paper. I'm good. Yeah.
It'd be fun to. Yeah, it'd be fun to do an office event like that. Just go and just break some stuff. Yeah, do whatever. All right. How's everybody doing this morning? We're gonna get started here. Well, thank you all for coming in. The rest of the people I guess can't make, or PJs. I don't know if you guys saw that. Little winky face. I thought it was fun.
Oh, I missed the winky face.
All right, so agenda today, just some more office news. We'll do that every time. We'll just be going over things that happen in the office, what we're doing. I'm going to go over a problem of the week, sales agreement timelines, be talking to the affiliates, and then as part with talking to the affiliates, it's going to be a little bit interactive with GRA about different client profiles and different things we could do for them. And then Ramp is going to be coming in and talking. So we all pay that nice $575 every year to them. So ask them a way of what they can do for us other than just giving us access to power contracts. So happy to have them in to find out really how they can help us out. So, and thank you very much, Kevin, for setting that up and whatnot. I have another speaker coming in, I think next. Oh, I got mute someone on here. Here in the background. But do you guys remember Marabot? Did they came in? So they've done some new things with videos and things like that with AI to help you quickly create videos and scripts and things like that. So they're going to come in and share some things they're doing one of the next meetings. So, and if you guys have any other speakers, vendors you like to use, things like that, like let me know. Are you guys enjoying having the speakers and vendors coming in and stuff? Okay, good. It sounds like people have been using them. I know Rick Haas that was in here, Naomi's like, yeah, they got a bunch of calls and people have been very happy so far. So if you have some more people, let me know. I'll get more people in here, and it really is just value for you guys and benefit you. So potluck, Easter potluck will be not this coming Tuesday. This coming Tuesday will be the news to you. That will be at 12 o'clock this time. They had to move it. And I'm pretty sure we're having Robert Refkin on there. If you don't know who Robert Refkin is, he is the CEO of Compass International Holdings. So he's essentially my boss, and we all pretty much work under him. He's the top dog out there now. So he's going to be on then. And then the following weekend, I think is the 14th, I believe, is when we will have the potluck. So I'll be sending out Excel spreadsheet. We're only like 10 people that will bring stuff in and make stuff. And I think it was really fun. We did the 50-50. We raised, I think it was like $225 total for that. So we could start doing things in the office. I'm going to be sending out to Annie to make sure we could do that and have copyrights of that picture that we want to use of the drone shot of Pittsburgh at night to take pictures with our clients after closings over here and stuff. So excited to get that going. Well, we'll do that. Yeah, not the same people have to make it every time. Kind of switch it up, and every couple months. So don't get crazy. Don't be like you don't have to have this giant platter and spend a lot of money. Like spend $10 or something like that. Like don't get too wild. So I'll go to Giant Eagle. I'll go get a fruit tray for $10. I don't know, but like whatever. You know what I mean? Like let's just not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. So I want to welcome Michelle Ritchie here to our office. She just joined us from Berkshire 2 weeks ago. So welcome her. She first year there, she did pretty good to 3.1 million in her first year. So excited to see what she does here with our resources and coaching. And on that note, thank you again, everybody who sent me someone over. Just a reminder, if you send me a name and I meet with them, you get a point. If they join our company, you get a point. And then we're going to do the wheel spin. We're going to do this on the 14th. We'll put the wheel up, and then whoever that lands on will get $500 cash from me. So I have it here already. So we'll do that wheel spin. So it'll be fun. You can use it on whatever you want. Okay. Agent development today is going to be all on AI. So if you guys, I'm going to do it from very basics at the beginning. Like this would be a good one if you want to get used to AI and be more efficient in your business. I'm going to do very basics, and then I'm going to get towards the end of it a little bit more like in depth of like some wild things that you can do with it. So and it's just going to be all wrapped around how we can use it to be more efficient as agents. I'm going to do it in ChatGPT now. I'm going to show a little bit of everything, actually. Like Copilot, I'm going to show a little bit of ChatGPT, and then I'm going to show Claude too. So, all right. So, problem of the week that we had. Had this one come up where deal got terminated. Okay, we're on the list side. Deal got terminated on the buy side because they said their buyer couldn't get financing, and they terminated. Can you do that? Can a buyer terminate when they can't get financing?
Keep trying.
Thank you. Okay. So if you read on here, oh gosh, I had this up there before. It's on the top part of it, I believe, of in good faith. I had it on there and I took it off where it was. But essentially what this says, you have your mortgage commitment date is on there. Usually it's no more than 2 weeks before your closing. Okay. If the buyer gets denied their financing before that commitment date, they can't terminate the contract. In good faith, they have to continue to try to get their mortgage. It's the seller that has to terminate, and they can't terminate until after the mortgage commitment. So this number 2 right here, take some time, know your contracts, read that over from 2 all the way down and understand what that means of how the seller can terminate after the contract. So in good faith, buyer still has to continue to try to get a mortgage. They just can't terminate. Now, let's say the mortgage commitment hasn't come out yet, and the buyer lost their job or something like that. They get denied financing, and the seller is like, I don't want to wait until the mortgage commitment date. Maybe we're a couple weeks away. Maybe this is early on the transaction. Don't do a termination. Just do the AREL form. It's the agreement release where it releases everybody from it. Both parties sign off. You say who the hay money is going to go to. It breaks everybody of the contract. You don't need a termination. I see all the time our agents are terminating contracts, but they're not terminating like read what you're terminating because of. But if you just want to release everybody from a contract, just do the AREL. Okay.
Just say it was some kind of complex and people.
You could do the AREL anytime in the transaction. Doesn't need to be termination. And everybody just releases everybody from the contract, and you say who the hay money goes back to. And maybe sometimes it's like the seller just wasted their time. It's been around for as long as I've been in real estate. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems easier. Why wasn't it being utilized more?
Well, termination is usually when one party wants out of the contract and they have the right to do that because of a contingency. Yes, this is both parties saying, I want out of the contract, we're releasing both parties. But maybe the seller did repairs on the house and stuff, and they really spent some time, but they're releasing before termination. In those times, maybe you say, hey, we're going to split the hay money here. We're going to go 50-50 on this. So there's times you could do that. Go ahead. Like in good faith, it doesn't I don't know that answer. It doesn't say that in the contract. It just says in good faith, they have to continue to try to get a mortgage. So,
Probably at this point, denial letter.
yeah, you a denial later, but maybe you would have to show that you applied with another lender or something like that after that. Yeah. So, all right, I wanted to go through critical timelines, and this is why I love AI. I was able to just upload a sales contract and say, I want you to break out all the timelines and then make slides of those. It took me 10 minutes to do these. It's so cool. So, all right, so this is going from the very top of the contract all the way down. These is every time frame inside the contract. So initial deposit, hopefully you all know this, 5 days. An additional deposit can be negotiated and the time frame will be on there. And then funds within, this is like later on the 2B, if more funds before settlement and things like that, that I rarely ever see that happen. But the two big ones were the initial deposit, get that in by within 5 days, or the additional deposit. And that's something that can make your offer stronger. You could say, listen, we're going to give you $5,000 now when we go under contract. And then we can say, we'll give you another $5,000 after inspections. You can write that in to make your offer even stronger. And then after inspections, by X date, they have to deposit the hand money. Settlement date, hopefully you all know what that is. That's on there. And again, you can close anytime before that. If you're going to close after that, always do an extension. Acceptance deadline, that's just the time of essence. That piece right there is going to be date on there. Then under the time of essence, you'll see the 5BC. That's just kind of all the dates are binding in the contract still. Like every date you have on there is still binding as per the contract when it's signed. Mortgage application has to be done in 7 days. Your mortgage commitment, again, you have to put that date on there, usually no more than 2 weeks before closing. Rate lock deadline, 15 days has to be done before settlement. Clear non-standard condition. So remind me with that, Natalie or Roger. This is mortgage. Any unusual conditions must be clear. Oh, so this is when you get your mortgage commitment. You have 7 days to get all that commitment stuff done by. So then let's say we have an appraisal, and the appraisal says you have to get stuff done. Seller has, and you send that over to the seller has 5 days to review that over and say what they're going to do or not do. After that point, if they say, the buyer then has 5 days to say, we're going to accept that or we're not going to accept that, or the buyer can take on those repairs themselves. Okay. A lot of people miss these numbers on here, right? The 5 days for the lender appraisal, and that gets missed a lot. All right. Inspection period. Usually it's 10 days unless you put something else in there. 5 days for your negotiation period. Your BRI needs to be in by that last day. If you are doing it the next day and you terminate after that because of it, the chance of losing your hand money. So inspection period, 5 or 10 days, negotiation period, 5 days, and then the final decision after the sellers say what they're going to do or not do, your buyers have 2 more days. At any time during this transaction, if you say we need more time to get contractors in there, get estimates, things like that, just do an extension. And you're better off extending the inspection period and not the negotiation period to get contractors and things like that. If you extend another 5 days on your inspection period, again, after that last day, then the negotiation period will start, and then the 2 days for your buyer will those time frames don't change. Okay, good.
Like say somebody gets the inspection in 5 days, you still go the 10 and 5 days.
You still go to the 5 days. So if you get an inspection done,
10, but
you still go to the 10 days. Sorry. Yeah. So if you do your inspection
Yeah.
in 5 days, you're doing a BRI, your negotiation period doesn't start when the BRI starts. Your negotiation starts at the last day of your inspection period. Okay. All right. Septic. Seller has 25 days to do any kind of septic stuff like that. The buyer has 5 days to respond to anything like that. Order and title has to be done in 7 days, same as getting it to the lender. Seller notice to buyer of anything that comes up with your dye tests, any kind of municipality requirements, occupancy, dye test, sewage, camera sewer lines in certain places. If the seller finds out about something, they have 5 days to let the buyer know this is going on and then say what they're going to do or not do. And then after that, the buyer has 5 more days to respond to that. Okay. Municipal certifications have to be ordered within 30 days. Is it getting cold in here?
Which is,
Sorry. Yeah. Let me turn it off. I can feel it.
I didn't know we could do that.
Keeps waiting.
What's that?
Keeps on waiting.
I know. I was like, all of a sudden, it got real chilly in here. I think you turned it down because it's hot, but didn't think it was going to be that much. So the municipal certification hard deadline, when it has to be done by, of reaching out and saying, hey, we're going to apply or send whatever into municipality, 15 days before settlement. Okay. HOA condo docs, 15 days. HOA docs have to be done by. And then the HOA has 10 days after you submit that to give you the HOA docs. And then the buyer has 5 days to review those HOA docs. If they don't like anything in there, they have a right to terminate the contract if they don't like anything in HOA docs. Okay, and then broker may release deposit monies. Its default as 180 days. We pre-fill on the global contracts 30 days in there. Make sure your contracts say 30 days, because if your buyer terminates and the seller doesn't sign the release of hand money, and you don't have 30 days in there, your buyers now have to wait 6 months before we can release the funds to them. Okay. And then broker distribution window, after receiving a buyer's written saying, hey, we want our money back, we have 30 days to give it back to them. And then I'll send you guys all these slides. This is just kind of a timeline all broken down of all those dates that we talked about. Okay. So I think it's just always good to go over the timeframes, because I know we don't all know them. All right, so affiliates, Katie's not on, but go over what she sent me. So this is a listing agent top 5 things you need to worry about. Seller contact information and initial forms, like make sure you're getting them all of the information on your seller, names, numbers, email addresses, so they can send out the seller questionnaire to them. Municipal requirements, most all the time, unless said otherwise on the contract, the sellers have to do that. Keystone will let you know if those are required. But if for you guys to know, like there's other title companies who won't let you know. So go on to the township's websites. You can also just use AI and say, can you find me the where on the website it is, that if they have to do dye test, sewer occupancy, and it'll pull up all the information. Realistic time frames. If it's Jordan tax, if it's an area that's Jordan tax, 10 to 14 days usually after the request is when Jordan tax releases the funds. This is something that gets backed up a lot. So maybe we could have Keystone tell us where those areas are that Jordan tax are, but they just take longer than anybody else of getting the tax certs out. So have your sellers be pushing them to do that very early on if you're in a Jordan tax area. And then commissions, contract changes, HUD alter review. We will never tell you send us too much stuff. Just like get them all the stuff in time when they're asking for it. Okay. Upcoming class, this is a good one. I think it'll be April 16th at 3 o'clock. Death guardianships and real estate. I think that'll be a solid one to talk about. And if you want to, understanding short sales. That will be April 21st at 3 o'clock.
April 16th.
April 16th will be death guardianship and real estate at 3 o'clock. Okay. And I'll send the game and you can get on there. We'll get through all this. That's just understanding short sales. All right. GRA again, Natalie and Roger putting this together. So we have the blue barrel out there. Bring in a used pair of shoes, like gently used, is the key. Every pair of shoes they bring in, we get $10 for the office. So tell your clients, like I'll send it. Did you send this out to everybody? The flyer?
Yeah.
send it out to your clients, send it out to everyone, have them bring in shoes. Like I have like probably 20 pairs of kid shoes because they grow them out of them so fast that I can bring in. That's $200 right there that we have for doing stuff in the office. So go through your house. It's that fall time, get rid of stuff, bring some gently used shoes in, and we can get money for do things in the office. So that's by April 15th that has to be done by. So we got a couple more weeks there. And then we're going to do a 5K walk down at North Park. What day is that? Are we doing that? April 10th. Okay. Right in front of me. All right. Main man Roger, come on up. So this is going to be, me and him did my recording. We just talked all this through, uploaded it into AI, and made ourselves some slides for this. It was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go over 5 different client profiles. This is going to be interactive. And I want to get your guys' feedback of what you would do for this buyer, how you would tell them to move forward, and like what are the best options for them. So we got to move
My
up.
job is to tell you if you're right.
Correct.
Like, bang, wrong answer.
Oh, just like that.
No.
Here, move this over. So move up buyer, home is paid off. They're going to move from Bethel Park to Mount Lebanon. You don't have to know that the household income. I just told them to just come up with the whatever. So, but they have a $268,000 home. It's completely paid off, and they want to upgrade to a $449,000 home. So needs equity access, but they have no liquid assets.
They probably do, but they don't want to use it.
Yeah, maybe 401k or something like that. So wants to buy before selling, but doesn't have liquid assets to close on a new home without first selling their current home one first. So their fear is owning 2 mortgages at once is freaking them out. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on this client profile. What are some options that you could give to them for them to buy their next house and make it as smooth as possible?
You.
Well, yeah, I guess they would have a second mortgage, but yeah.
But they have to get that.
Ding, ding, ding. Marcia said that too. Ding, ding, ding. Can I come now? All right.
And-
Or do we
We'll
get more ideas?
give a couple more. We'll give a couple more ideas.
Do that. They don't have to do that like weeks ahead of time, because if they're selling that home, there's a for sale sign, they won't get the home equity loan.
It blew my whole thing.
I'm sorry.
That's good though. That's great.
It's a great answer.
Any other options you guys could think of
Said the first one quiet.
at all? Good. All right. So, Roger.
Okay, first, as Masha and Jeanette pointed out, the best option in this situation would be a HELOC, home equity line of credit. It has to happen before the home is listed. That's the most important thing, because lenders are loath to give you a loan that they know will be paid off quickly when the house sells. So you get it in place. The advantage of the HELOC is you can go to a higher loan value on the house you're selling, usually up to 90. You get interest-only payments while you're trying to sell the property. There are even situations, and we look at this case by case, where you can use a HELOC to pay off the first mortgage, only have the one payment to worry about. So in general, the HELOC is the best vehicle for this situation. However, most customers, or a lot of customers, will come to you after the home is listed, be like, I want to buy this home and my home didn't sell. Now what do I do? So without having the knowledge the HELOC was the best way to go, their options are going to be more limited. And this is something that a lot of you may know, I had a long career prior to this with Howard Hanna, and they used their advanced equity loan, called their bridge loan, in such a way to get buyers into a position where they were forced to list. They couldn't go anywhere else. And the bridge loan will work. It's a way to release the equity on the property that's listed. Usually it backs out at 75% loan to value. The downsides are multiple. First of all, it's usury as far as I'm concerned. It's really high rate and high cost for a short-term loan. That rate's going to be in the 8s or 9s right now. It's, up just under $1,000 in terms of fees to get it there. So it's not the most cost-effective way for somebody to solve their, get into a house before they sell. But it might be the only way. The last kind of sticky part is that they have to qualify for 3 mortgages. They have to qualify on the home they're buying, qualify on the mortgage payments for the home they're selling, and qualify on the interest-only payments on the bridge loan. So that can be another challenge. Maybe not for people who live in Bethlehem, Lebanon, you know, maybe not. But in those situations, it could be a challenge. Another option is that they can look at a lower down payment on the home they're purchasing. Maybe put 5% down. Maybe use a 15% or greater home equity line of credit on the purchase, you know, subordinate financing, 80-15-5s, the 80-10-10s we're talking about. And then they'll just pay off that HELOC once they sell their home without tying up or waiting for a HELOC to be in place on the home that they're selling. So that could be the third option if they, you know, again, can qualify for the multiple mortgage situation. The last, it would be simply put less money down, close on your house, and then utilize the GRA recast option. Upfront cost is $500. They'll pay a little more in rate on the new mortgage. Technically, it's a quarter. Honestly, when you say a quarter, it's they can pay out of it. It's a negligible amount. You see it on paper, and then once they sell the home, they can just apply the funds from the sale toward the new mortgage, pay it down, and have the new payment. 4 great options to buy before you sell. Pardon?
Put a huge amount down, like.
Yeah, it's usually a minimum of 10 grand that they have to put down in order to recast. Michelle?
Question, can you do the buy, sell on the same day if need be?
Yep, we're gonna go over that. Yep, no, you're good, good question.
Kind of greatest, you know, accomplishment is when we end up with all at one closing day.
Yep.
No, yes.
For, you know, older people that have a good nest egg tied up, you do anything like loans against their assets? So they don't have to get penalized and take it out and then put it back in?
They would have to go to whoever holds those assets.
Okay.
And there's a lot of rules that apply.
So most of the time, no.
Most of the time, no.
You can't, but they might.
They might, but you know, usually you're in a private banking situation where somebody's going to borrow against their own assets. And from your perspective, you have a cash deal. From my perspective, I have no deal. You know, they go into their financial plan like I have. When I worked for FNB for 4 or 5 years, that was a fairly common thing. Like, what are your rates? I'll just borrow against my own money. And in private banking situations, they can do that. Your typical IRA, you can't just borrow against it, you know. 401k, you can use the first time home ownership, but you still have to be employed by the company that holds it. There are a lot of rules and guidelines to release those funds. Pardon? A gold and silver IRA. Yeah.
Doesn't have the money, doesn't hold the money to pay, you know, to the IRA.
I see.
I don't know many people like that, though.
Yeah. And that again sounds like somebody wouldn't need my services.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But yeah, option. So,
It sounds like, and then we have rich people.
yeah, then we are.
Then we have the rich people.
So, and then talking about
Just be rich.
the sale contingency, wanted to go over the 2 forms you're going to do that. So if they need to sell their property in order to buy their next property. So most of the time, if better for your buyers, use the SSP, sale and settlement of their property contingency. I'm not going to go over this all right now. We'll do that during contract class. But this is a form we're going to use. This is more benefits the buyer that says we have to sell our house first. We're going to get the house we're buying under contract, and then we're going to market our house, get it under contract, and then close on them both at the same day. I missed the one on here, which is settlement of property. That is if you already have the house under contract that they're selling, and you go and put an offer on the other house, then you would use the SOP, settlement of property. You're saying, hey, we're already under contract. Here's a sales agreement. This is how far we are through the process. Then this is our closing date, and you try to close on the same day. So SSP here, better for your buyers. The other one, SSPCM. Okay, so this gives the sellers, this is better if you're on the list side. Not as good for the buyers, because with this, the CM is continued marketing. The seller has the right to continue keeping their property active on the MLS, market their property out there, and they're able to accept another offer if that comes in and they like it more. So this one, I don't like it as much. If you get a deal together and it's right now with multiple offers, there's a good chance the sellers have a better position to do this one for you to get under contract. You still have to do home inspections and everything before you get your house under contract. It's just the mortgage timelines kind of change until they get their house under contract, correct? And then
Are you seeing that?
SSPs,
Any of them?
like very few. The house usually is on the market for a while when it's done, but the amount of multiple offers we're seeing right now, like good luck getting one of these accepted.
Yeah.
And then the one that our lawyers do not recommend at all is the SSP TKO. I'm not even going to talk about it. They say don't use it. So we like the SSP, SSPCM. Okay. All right. So next one, constrained first time home buyers. So make it
So all of them.
quite often. Yeah. So under $100,000 income, the renting right now have no equity. They're looking to buy a $189,000 home. They only have $6,500 saved up. What are some options you guys can think of for someone like this? PHFA, K-Fit loan, okay. Anything else? Straight FHA loan, yep, okay.
Yeah, flatter.
Yeah, get flatter, yeah, if you can get that, yeah, from family members, it's willing to give you a little bit more, yeah, to put down, so, okay,
So, yeah.
yep.
Yep, PHFA. I promote PHFA a lot. I've been doing them for almost 30 years. And there was a time in my career that I would have to drive to Harrisburg to all that way, 4 hours to get stand in a line and get a certificate, have my picture taken, then get in the car and drive home for, production of PHFA. So I believe in PHFA. The most popular product for PHFA is a simple Keystone home loan. You can do it as an FHA, conventional, VA, USDA. And what makes it popular is that the rate's usually a point lower than the standard market rate. Right now at FHA, we can get 5.25 through the PHFA Keystone home loan. The second most popular, most utilized is what Dana mentioned, which is the K-Flex and K-Fit, and that is a way to utilize a forgivable second mortgage in lieu of a down payment and to cover some closing costs. You can get up to 5% of the purchase price to apply towards these costs. You put, was that right? 5% or 3%? Yeah, 5%. You can put as little as 3% down. That means you have no down payment plus 2% more of the purchase price towards your costs. And the loan is forgivable after 10 years. So they're really never making payments on it.
10% each year.
Yep, 10% by 10% each year.
Yeah, so if they sell the house in 5 years and they had a second mortgage on there for $5,000 or $10,000, they would owe $5,000 still on that mortgage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So within that 10-year period, they have to pay something back that's prorated if they sell, move, refinance. The one thing that we forgot is that enough information for K-Flex. Yes, the standard income limits apply for PHFA, which is just over 100,000, 106 now. So
Household income.
household income, good point. Household income includes people who live in the house, whether they're on the mortgage or not, even adult children who work.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. And people are always like, who's going to find out? It's like auditors. And I don't want to take the chance. They look into this thing. There was a time period where banks, and maybe they still do it, they knock on doors to make sure you're living there because you got a primary residence loan, so better not to take chances with gray areas. If you have got 3 adults, show 3 W-2s program and determine if you qualify. Must not forget 3% down conventional. You get these home buyers, they're looking at a home that's maybe needs a little work. It's the price range. It's the nature of sort of the beast. So an FHA loan may not fly. We know that there might be some peeling paint nobody wants to deal with, and maybe a small set of stairs without a railing nobody wants to deal with. Just some general repairs that are more like no great concern to home buyers, home sellers, but maybe only to FHA. If they have the credit scores, they can go 3% down conventional for first-time home buyers. You can also, in certain in geographic tracts, use a grant up to $5,000 to cover your closing costs and down payment. You have 1% investment at that point as a first-time home buyer. That has geographical. You have to be a first-time home buyer. There's income limits and geographical restrictions for the grant itself. I think we covered what we need for
Yeah.
Just a quick review, conventional loan, you can ask the sellers to contribute 3% of the purchase price towards your closing costs. I saw an estimate from a competitor that had the 3%, and then they were trying to sneak in the buyer paying the seller's transfer tax. I haven't been able to pull that off since 1997, and I wouldn't recommend trying now. You know, you can't exceed the guidelines for seller paid closing costs. And on FHA and FHA-based loans, it's 6%. Something to keep in mind. As Dana mentioned earlier, it's not easy with multiple offers to get any of these deals with seller assist through in competitive situations. So that's why we're looking at the grants and the lower down payment options.
All right, next one, cash strong offer in competitive market right now. So total income 20% down ready. If not, they have even more money on top of the 20% down. Could be renting or they're upgrading, doesn't really matter. Target home doesn't really matter either. So we're talking about multiple offer set situation. When you have someone that has a lot of cash to work with, how do you make their offer stronger? All right. So some of the different ways: pay transfer taxes and commissions. You could pay your buyer agent commission as well as the list side commission as well to make your offer stronger. Pay all the transfer taxes. Use the escalation clause. And this is something I'm learning as we go. And there's been a lot of escalation stuff going on recently. I talk about it with all the multiple offers. So it goes off the seller net, and then off the seller net, only thing we're considering is seller financial concession. So if the buyer is paying the transfer taxes, it won't count towards the net. It's really just in that paragraph 3 of, are they paid buyer agency and is there seller's assist? Okay, so that's what you should be going off the net on. Larger earnest money, more flexible closing date they can do and stuff like that. But really paying for as much stuff as they can for the seller will make their offer stronger, will lower the house price, the purchase price, which means lower taxes for them, which also means lower transfer taxes. So if they have that money, it benefits the buyer, okay, a lot. And then fully get it underwritten too. They have that program as well.
Yeah, power bid. Don't forget our power bid program. You could go into an offer with a commitment letter contingent on an appraisal. In some cases, not even the appraisal, because we could get an underwriting Freddie Mac waiver for the appraisal. So you can go in with a no condition commitment letter at your offer. Can't pull this off on Sunday night. These situations are always, now it's multiple offers. We didn't think about this ahead of time. If you got these strong customers, just say, why not try the power bid now? And then they can keep this letter for any offer they make.
So there's no commitment. The commitment letter is their pre-approval.
Yeah.
Like they're already fully underwritten.
Yeah. Basically waiting to close.
Go ahead.
Have clients who go through that program, like, what are the thoughts and opinions on like the part of the sales agreement where it talks about like the offer being contingent then upon financing?
You still have to use the mortgage contingency.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if they lose their job or something like that, or like
Right.
whatever? Yeah.
So I guess I'm just trying to figure out like,
But I'd still offer a disclaimer. There's been plenty of times where I've evaluated a customer situation, like they can buy this house without me. They want a mortgage, they don't necessarily need one, they understand there's risks. To make a strong offer, in that case, you could remove a mortgage contingency. The buyers are comfortable with the risk, assuming it.
yeah,
But yeah, you still need the more, even with a condition-free commitment letter to start out, you still want to put the mortgage contingency in most
Yeah.
cases.
You just don't really have a mortgage commitment date on there,
Or put
essentially.
today, here it is.
Yeah. Here's your mortgage commitment already. Yep. Go ahead.
Back to the state back loan, like HFA.
Yeah.
Is it still, do we still want to put as a closing date, 60 days, or it takes longer, right? Or the
Usually.
appraisal loan?
Usually, not right now, I don't think so. There's not the volume right now to worry about that. Hopefully there will be, we'll probably issue warnings as we approach the spring market more, but currently probably pull it off in 30 to 45 days.
We had a couple other questions. Go ahead.
60 days.
Did you have one?
I just am really not familiar really with the power bid.
Yeah. Sit down with them. They'll tell you all about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And in a nutshell, we basically ask your customer to give us their docs up front. Well, your pay stubs, your W-2s, your bank statements, we send it in, and they sign an application as if they bought a house. We send it into the underwriter, and the underwriter approves it. We may have to go back to them and say, as usual, at any deal, what's this deposit? Where does this money come from? But we get through all that
And
before
they
they,
get back with 3 months, is it 2 months or 3 months?
usually it's 6 days of, what we call seasoned assets.
All right, so next one, Stefania's favorite, I think, veteran buyer. Yeah, I know she does a ton of those. But renting, no equity, they want to buy a house. I mean, it's a great program. I'll just let you talk about it. We get to it, but 0% down. But, there's a lot of myths out there. The VA inspections are so tough or appraisals, sorry, not inspections are so tough in FHA. Look, yeah, they're looking at safety stuff and things like that. But I see a lot of conventional inspections that they're ripping some houses apart sometimes. So like the FHA VA isn't that much like, I think there is I have it in here, a myth. I think there's a myth that they're just like the most dangerous thing ever. Yeah, there might be some houses that it don't work for, but like try to educate your sellers a little bit more of like, it really isn't that much more different. They're really looking for safety things are the biggest things they're looking for.
And they turn out to be more like annoyances than deal killers, under these conditions.
Yeah.
So you got to paint a little bit around a window.
Put a handrail in, whatever. Like it's not crazy stuff most of the time.
Show here.
That's this guy.
No.
Honestly, I've heard that. But
In that situation, you don't get a formal announcement. What you notice is patterns. All of a sudden, things are a little easier. The same thing has happened with underwriting guidelines. You just hear in the news, lenders have loosened up their guidelines, but we know it only through people going through. It's not like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac says, we're going to be easier now. You agree with this? No? Tell me what you say.
So there is guidelines that come out. We don't get them from DRA, but we get
Yeah.
them, straight from Fannie and Freddie and HUD. But I disagree with what you're saying. They haven't taken any of the safety.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about? The VA loans 0% down?
Yeah, I
They
do.
can-
If you have a veteran, it's always worth looking at because I think the VA loan is the best, most cost-effective loan available. There's no money down. You can ask the sellers to pay all of your costs. You can even leave the closing table with a refund of things that you prepaid, such as hand money, appraisal, home inspection. Can't make money. There's no deal where you can do that, but you can walk away with absolutely no out-of-pocket money. There's no monthly mortgage insurance. There's only the VA funding fee, which is expensive. It's over 2%, unless your veteran is disabled, which you have to ask. You can't, and if they have a receiving VA disability pay, then there's a very good chance they're going to have no or reduced funding fee. And the funding fee is financed. It's just added on the loans. I don't feel it out of pocket. And I haven't had any major deal killer appraisal issues with VA loans that I can remember.
All right, last one. The sell first mover. Homeowner must sell before buying. This is, say they're in Squirrel Hill. The current home is $312,000. They have $187,000 of equity in it. The loan is $187,000, $125,000 equity. They're looking to move up. So their equity dependent needs proceeds to close. So must sell first, but doesn't want to be homeless. Getting sale contingency accepted is very difficult in the multiple offers right now. So their fear is being stuck with nowhere to go. Post-settlement occupancy is a cleanest solution. So want to talk through that. So something you could do, and then we're getting these multiple offers. This is an option. It's not going to work every time. And you would have to put in your agent remarks, reach out to listing agent for closing days and stuff like that, or information on closing. So something you could do, post-settlement addendum. Okay, it's only should be used for 30 days after. Like sometimes agents will use these for like months. Don't do that. So really, and it says right on there, post-settlement addendum should only be used for 30 days. So let's say you sell their house, you get it under contract, you can do SOP and start looking for other houses. But they don't close right in time. But so you can have a post-settlement addendum put in place when you get their house under contract for 30 days, saying how long they get to stay there. They need to have insurance on it, how much they're going to be paying on a daily rate back to the sellers. And then if it is longer than 30 days, you should be doing a lease on this with all those terms of it. And then again, if you can use SSP if you try to close on the same day. But just a thought, if you have those people with the crazy multiple offers, maybe they don't have, they have to 100% sell in order to buy. This is an option that you can do. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go over this next time. If you guys aren't following Robert Refkin, highly recommend it on Instagram. I don't know if he's on Facebook or whatever, but I'll go over this next time. I'm going to have Rand talk. It's a really good article, but he's our CEO of Compass. We all pretty much work under him, but this is a really good one. So I'll talk about that next time about the MLS and everything like that. So
Can I add something just to your last scenario?
you sure can.
The multiple. Our involvement there with this customer would be mainly watching rates for them because we don't know when they're going to close. We don't know when they're going to sell. And, your standard lock-in without the 60 days of extra costs. So we would stay in contact with that customer. This would be how our service would be making sure that they lock in at the right time without having to extend the lock, which can be costly if the house hasn't sold.
Perfect.
Can I use, also one great update? They seem to be coming down. It's a little bit. They've gone up. We were close to breaking records. We're back in the mid sixes. Whether they continue to fall, I don't know. Good question.
Hopefully,
Yes.
cross our fingers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we'll have Ramp come on up. I can pass this out for you if you want me to.
Very good. Sure. I brought it up.
There we go. Thank you. You can come on. We have like, let's see. I'll just go on here so you guys can. Yeah, we got about 50 people online as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever extras we have, you can pass out at your leisure.
Come right in front of the camera. Feel introduce yourself and thank you very much for coming.
My name is John Petrak. I serve as the Executive Vice President of the Realtors Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh. And as small as the world is, I used to manage offices for Coldwell Banker. So, I've been in the industry quite a long time. So I consider myself basically an asset to the association because I still maintain my broker's license. I have to field calls from consumers and our members all the time. When you go through the book, you'll see one of the benefits of belonging to the association is number one, 50% of the time I can actually diffuse issues. If a consumer calls me and it's something we can work at, I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to tell you right now, if I call you, it means I'm trying to help you. So please return the call. Okay. So again, I'm going to go through the booklet real quick. And when we survey our membership, there are two things that they tell us they're most important to them. Number one is the standard forms. And they're proprietary and they are owned by the state association. And number two is advocacy. And Matt's going to finish the program, our little presentation for advocacy, because he is our government relations director. We're fortunate enough that our association is large enough that we have a full-time government relations director. He has literally saved dozens of closings for members. And he only provides these services to members or other associations that contract with us for those services. So just briefly, again, if you have the resource books, and let me put these together because we always get the question, what do my dues pay for? Now, I will let you know that roughly 1/3 goes to the national, 1/3 goes to the state, and 1/3 stays here in Pittsburgh. I was also served as president of the association back in 1996. So again, I've been roaming the real estate streets for a couple of years. Not until I took this position and had to go through training at national and the state did I realize everything that this association actually offers for people. And I served as the president of it way back when. So if you get bored, can't sleep tonight, visit NAR's website, visit PAR's website. It'll help put you to sleep, but you'll find things in there that you never knew with a benefit to you, discounts on appliances. You know, we offer back page, one of the back pages here, we offer a free tech helpline. It's and it's part of your dues. So use it. I mean, and they'll give you advice on what kind of laptop to buy, and they'll tell you how to fix your printer. And it's all free. So the front page is basically a little bit of the history of the association. We are well over a century old. Government affairs. We negotiate contracts with professional mediators. So if you have a buyer-seller conflict and you use our service, your consumer is going to be receiving a discount that we've negotiated on their behalf or on their behalf. We have an attorney on staff or on retainer, I should say. He's almost as good as Terry Wright, if you know Terry.
No.
So, but if there is an issue, like, I'll tell you one thing that Matt doesn't know we're gonna be working on soon. Someone here mentioned Jordan Tax Service. We receive so many complaints about them. We are collecting them. So if you have instances where they've given you so much grief, send it to us. Because we're gonna basically take this to the municipalities, to government and say, look, this is not fair to the consumer. Because it is ridiculous. Now, personal story, I do my father-in-law's taxes and his real estate tax rebate. He didn't save his real estate tax receipts for last year, didn't get them. I actually emailed them almost a month ago because they have to provide me with those tax receipts. I am still waiting. That's ridiculous. So we are gonna, and Matt will tell you, advocacy is what we've been able to get done legislatively that have started here in Pittsburgh is unbelievably phenomenal. We put together legislation for wholesaling, private driveways. Okay, I don't want to steal Matt's thunder. Yeah. For members, we have you can go into a private side of our website for legal information. A little bit about my history. We have a professional standards process here in Pittsburgh because we're large enough to do so. It's respected across the state of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth, and you don't have to deal with a state association to do that. We also have a lot of classes that are available to you. When I do orientation for members, I tell them, and if anybody's here relatively new to the business, you'll see that to build up your confidence, it's going to make you more profitable. It's going to make you more transactions. And you build up your confidence by education like Dan is providing with you this morning. So that's because consumers will come up with some crazy questions once in a while. And if you're prepared to answer them, it's going to benefit you in the long run. So I don't know if you know about our DO audio tours. If you're as a member, for $10 a listening, your listing can be presented in almost 100 languages.
Wow.
So it's a heck of a benefit. It's super inexpensive. Again, it's a rate ramp is negotiated for our members only. When you sign up for the program, they'll take us through it. Yeah, it have tutorials and everything. And
So you do an enrollment class, and then if you get a listing, you can do it.
right.
That should be a credit class.
It would be nice. Yeah. We do. Our school does try to work almost everything into a CE course. That's time of the year too. And I don't know if you know this, but those of you who have talked to the association probably know Jeff, our membership director. Everybody knows Jeff. He started as an intern at the association when he was in high school. He's now been there for 35 years. I have 2 staff members that have been with the association for over 50 years. And they are that loyal to all of our members. They're just fantastic women. Of course, everyone knows about our AEF. Those applications will be going out soon. Website and visit our website. There's about 42, there's 7 tabs and 42 sub tabs that might interest you, different programs, different events. We have active affiliate partners, as you guys probably know, and we actually run a foundation. So over the years, we had a member whose house caught on fire. So we were able to help them out financially. We had another member whose office flooded. We were able to help them out. So, and members that have been suffering from cancer, and they were their only providers in that household. So it's all of our, we do fundraisers. If you play golf, join us on the golf course on August 4th. It's our major fundraiser for the foundation this year. YPN, they even let me in the door, so don't let that name scare you. And we're not a part-time association. There's a lot of, we are surrounded by 4 associations that have part-time staff and just an administrator, maybe. Yeah, our dues might be $30 higher a year, but you're actually getting something for your money. You know, I field calls again from consumers that I can iron out issues privately. Matt works on your behalf constantly. So there is a difference, and it's this old thing: you get what you pay for. And then, of course, our tech helpline. I think I did mention that. That's absolutely free, all included in your dues. I got through that as soon as I could. Short enough, Kevin?
Great.
And I'm going to turn this over to Matt.
Hey, everybody in here and on Zoom. My name is Matt Vermeyer. I've been doing politics in Western Pennsylvania for just about 2 decades, and I've been serving realtors for the last 10 years. Now, what does government relations mean for you, and why do you need to care about it? There's a couple things, and I'm going to use 2 main examples of some things we've done in the last few years that affect your day-to-day practice issues, and how your pain points locally and in your transactions. We change state, local, federal laws so you don't ever have to feel that again, and no one else in your industry has to feel it again. Talking about small world, I closed on my house in that room over there last year. So I knew exactly where this was, and I lived 2.5 miles away. So that was convenient. So what do I get the most calls? So when I say government, that is everything from municipal inspectors to Congress and everything in between. And most of the calls I get from a day-to-day business thing are from our over 3,000 members on an issue they're facing, usually with the municipal government. In this case, that's water and sewer folks with an authority or a home inspection, something like that. So 10 years ago, we were getting so many calls of there were cracks in the sidewalks on a home inspection, or the 123 Main Street on the front of the house was 1/4 of an inch too big for the new code or whatnot, and it was stopping closings. And what I would do is I would call up the municipality and be like, hey, can we figure this out in good faith, because these folks sold their house, they're in a moving van, and you're going to make them live in a hotel for an extra week because you can't come back and look at the sidewalk when that's not a major health and safety issue. So I play this game of whack-a-mole with the hundreds of municipalities across Allegheny, Westmoreland, and Butler, and sometimes it would work and sometimes it didn't. So in that case, if I can't help you individually, we went to the state and we passed a law that created temporary occupancy permits for the first time. So if you have a municipal issue and buyer agrees to take the responsibility for the repair, especially if it's done already, the municipality is required to give you a temporary permit, occupancy permit, or access certificate. And what we found near instantly was the #1 test that folks were failing and caring about wasn't covered under that law explicitly, which was originally dye tests and is now almost every municipality is or will in the next 5 years have some sort of camera lateral inspection. And on the house I just bought last year, there were some roots in the sewer, and fortunately that could have been rotoed off for $500 and it was all good. If that was not good, it was right under the driveway and the quote was $32,000, which drastically changes the nature of the transaction. So what we did is, starting in Pittsburgh, We collect all your stories. So your story of this transaction fell apart because the dye test and the seller is grandma, and she has no money to fix it, or it's a trust, or it's a bankruptcy, and there's no one who has the ability to do it, but the buyer is willing to take on that responsibility. So we coordinated with the rest of my counterparts across the state and got all of the realtors to go up to Harrisburg and have meetings with state reps and state senators, and we drafted an amendment that now, as of last year, all water and sewer authorities for a failed water sewer test, any point of sale inspection, they are required by law to give you a temporary occupancy permit or a temporary access certificate. Temporary access certificate is just the verbiage if it's a major health and safety issue. So if you have sewage running into the yard, they usually say you can close, but you can't have anyone live in there until that's fixed. Same thing if there's like fire damage or, you know, a hole in the roof and there's raccoons, you can close. The point is to get you to close, and they're not allowed legally to require escrow anymore. You can do private escrow, usually recommended, but the government can't require it. It used to be, sometimes they'd be like 200% of the repair cost and all of those things. Now we are in the compliance phase of that. So half of the calls I get are from people who call, and if you've ever done business in North for Sales, sorry. So North for Sales. So here's the process for you, and this is important for all of you to know. So let's say you have a client, dye test fails, and you say the seller has no ability to fix it or can't do it in time frame because like when the ground was super frozen, plumbers were charging crazy amounts to like dig that out and stuff. So, and the municipality or the sanitary authority says, we don't do temporaries. Just, you have to do it or you can't close. You call me and I give you a whole bunch of materials to give to them to be like, hey, you might not know this new law exists. Playing dumb usually works with these folks because they think they know everything. And you give them these materials, and 9 out of 10 times they're like, oh, I didn't know that exists. Here's your thing. Transactions, all good. That 1 out of 10 time, that's when the association has to take a little bit more action. We have a really aggressively worded legal letter from our counsel that we send to them. And then that usually leads to a several-hour-long conversation with their municipal solicitor and myself. I am not a lawyer. I am not a realtor. I just use my best understanding of these things given to me by those folks. Like I just had one, this is a little further out in last week in Latrobe, and this was blocking this closing. It was a trust. They had to go to court every time they needed to extend or amend the contract. And the buyer was completely willing to take on the responsibility. And I had to hound the lawyer for the authority over and over again to finally have a several-hour chat with them. And now that transaction is closed. Or on the verge of being closed. I forget what the date of the closing was, but that's the crux of what we do. Is every time you have a pain point with government, we play whack-a-mole. We see what we can do locally. We use all the tools in our toolbox, and then we go figure out if we need a new tool. Similarly, we're getting an awful lot of calls from agents about predatory wholesalers, unlicensed predatory wholesalers. So this would be the case of, and this was up in the Kiski Valley. Grandpa died. Grandma has the house. She's been there 60 years, doesn't know what the house is called. Somebody goes to her and says, I can give you $200,000 for this house. That sounds fine, except they don't actually buy the house. They sell the house to a third party by transferring equitable interest for $400,000. And then that wholesaler might get 20 or 30% of that. And grandma never knows the house sold for 400 and just loses that equity. Now, that would have been a thing if any of you had done as a licensee or a realtor, would be in big trouble, right? So what we had to do is we had to go around and figure out how to make the playing field level. So we went back to the state, we helped drafted a law, and we again took realtors to the Hill, had meetings locally with state reps, state senators. And now in the state of Pennsylvania, if you are doing residential wholesaling, you need a state real estate license the same way all of you do. And whether your company lets you do it, that's up to a company. We don't dictate business practice, but if anyone is doing it in the state of Pennsylvania, they have to have a real estate license. So some of the resources, and I'll send this to you folks to send out to you afterwards. Always, if they say, oh, I'm a wholesaler, or I'm a consultant, I don't have to do this disclosure form. They got to do the same rules as all of you. You can always look up and see if they have a license. What the state association recommends that if they don't have a license, you report them to the State Real Estate Commission the same way you would if someone was practicing real estate without a license.
contract you use to do wholesaling if you're a real estate agent?
That's up to your broker. So PAR has some general guidance on their website that if your broker doesn't already have a policy, because some offices say don't interact with them at all. Some of them say here's what makes us feel safe. So that's entirely up to your brokers and your managers, how that gets interfaced with. Our general guidance is they have to follow the same rules you all, and whatever makes your broker feel comfortable, that's the rule there.
A lot of wholesalers doing this.
Oh, no, there's a lot. And what some of them are starting to do, and this is another reason to call me. Sometimes there are things that are loopholes. This is a new law. And if you call me and be like, hey, is this a loophole they can do? I might not have an answer for what counts as a loophole yet, but we're collecting the stories and the examples and giving them to our legal counsel and giving them to the State Real Estate Commission so they can figure out what counts as a loophole. Does, a double closing count? We saw one up in Butler where they put themselves on the deed and only would release the deed with their fee. So there's an awful lot of interesting things, and there's folks calling from out of state, and those folks still would have to follow the same rules of go through a brokerage in state the same way you all would if you were doing that kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of, this is brand new, this is step one, but before this, we didn't have a definition of wholesaling in state law, and now we do. The non-legal way to think of it is, are they taking title? Like, is it coming to them, or is it just, are they being extra transactional about it? So, but any of these types of things, it used to be you had to get, if it was private roadway, all 10 people on that road had to sign off or you couldn't get a mortgage. So we went to the state legislature and passed a law that said, here's a minimum kind of contract style for that situation. So anything that buffs and hits and stops you. Now, what I will say is when you call me, try not to call me at 10 a.m. if your closing is at 11. I'm not a wizard. And to the Jordan tax point, I don't have a power to make them not take 10 business days from when they receive a physical check, which is what delayed the closing in that room by about a week, because the title closing company that the seller was using was from out of the region, didn't know that was Jordan tax rule. There's other government things. So when you all renew your licenses with PALs in the state government, I'm sure you have a lot of fun doing that. It's an efficient process. But we've had cases where, hey, I'm having an issue with the state Department of State with my license. And you call me and I can say, hey, you live in McCandless, Lindsay Williams, your state senator, Arvin Venkat's your state rep. Here's the staffer you can call, and they have a special line that can sometimes get you a response in a day, not a week. So there's all sorts of things like that in every level of government. We fought to reopen you in COVID. This was the last state that didn't consider real estate essential. We had a virologist from Pitt calling because he had to sleep on his office floor while working on a COVID vaccine because he wasn't allowed to look at apartments. All sorts of national flood insurance, transfer taxes, whether you all count as independent contractors for the purposes of taxes, all of these things, always just give me a call and then we figure out how we coordinate. That's the main thing. I don't do that much. I mean, other than I coordinate the fact that there are 3,000 to 4,000 of you, take your experiences and give that power. Because a lot of times I'll get a call from an agent like, I don't want to yell at McCandless. I do a lot of business there and I don't want to be the problem agent or the problem office, where I can go to, in this case, I'll give a good example, Mount Oliver. They did like 40 transactions. I got a call about 18 of them. So we had to have a little meeting with them, and their municipal inspector might not be there anymore. They were asked to kindly move one municipality over, I guess. But the point was, I can be like, hey, here's 18 of these. This is 6 different offices, different agents. This is an issue that is not one bad realtor yelling at you. You have a serious problem that you got to fix. And that helps an awful lot. And it helps that I can then take that to elected officials and be like, these are your constituents. Here's a tangible issue. Vote for this bill. So
With strength in numbers.
Do you have an email or?
Yeah,
Would
I'll
you
send out,
Yes, if we had an emergency.
so I'm gonna give you, this might not be on the website. I'm gonna give you all my work cell because I try to keep realtor hours. Like I had a realtor call me at 8 o'clock at night on Friday and somehow I picked up, but that's because my baby just went to sleep. So I was still up, but 412-802 9192. That's textable, that's callable. My, yeah, 412-802-9192.
And can you spell your last name,
Yeah,
please?
V like Victory, ER, M like Mary, EIRE. And I'll send to your folks who can set it out a bunch of the materials that I talked about. So I'll have a rundown on that sewer water bill, have a rundown on wholesaling, have my contact info, all of that stuff. And I know I could go on for hours and hours, but the last thing I like to do is there any issues that like this, or the ones I mentioned that you all have faced or have questions about in the last little bit? Like I was doing, the only reason I know about half the issues, because half of these don't hit the papers. Like we had an issue in Coriopolis where they're charging vacant properties for water even when the water's not on at today's water rate. So to close, this property had been vacant for 18 years and it was like 20 grand that they wanted for water that didn't exist. And that's not a thing they're allowed to do. And I only knew that because an agent happened to mention it offhand. Is there are sewer water issues still big for you all?
Well, I have an investor in some of the properties he's bought in Bellevue. Tried to do camera tests and they just said they couldn't even do it, access it. So that's gonna be a problem later. He has a lot of properties.
Information
So,
blast.
it's like,
Some
it's a
people-
way of.
Okay.
Like,